this first. The Los Angeles Lakers are not a championship contending team, or in or out.
Well, I might still be in on that. I thought you were gonna say some ridiculous shit.
No,
I
no,
was
no.
about to say. No, I might be in on that. I might be in on that. I don't want to say like for sure, but there's definitely some concerns. A lot of it has to do with rotations and coaching. The main thing for me is like there's no excuse for the rotations to be this bad already because the thing last year was okay, we got all these guys at the trade deadline, we didn't have training camp, we still got to figure things out on the fly, yada yada yada. This year, we did add some players, but we should have had all the training camp, all the preseason. We had time to strategize. We're almost 10 games in. Like these rotations shouldn't be this fluctuate through games. And if they are, there has to be a reason for it, not just like, oh, we got to change some shit up. Darvin Ham, today he started Cam Reddish. I guess that worked, but, brought Austin Reeves off the bench. I guess that's a step in the right direction, but still, there's still a lot of things we have to do to figure out. Like guys don't know the roles. Some guys are playing a lot one day. Some guys are not. So I think that's really the main thing that needs to be fixed. I don't know what the solution to that is, to be real. Darvin Ham just has to do a better job. I'm not an NBA coach, so I can't tell him what to do, but he has to be better. Like this is, a lot of people have been complaining about his coaching for good reason, like just the way he does it. But I think we still have the pieces necessary to figure things out. But, it's guys got to play better and the coach has to do better too.
Yeah, I'm also in. I feel like you said, there was a reason as to why you guys were losing games last year with the continuity of the team, players not fitting with each other, and that made sense. But this year, you had the team going into the Western Conference Finals. You made improvements too. Training camp was good. Like you said, them not having an identity or Darvin Ham not letting players like figure it out with each other is a step in the wrong direction. I feel like already having that team that established themselves and making the Western Conference Finals should be that same five or same like rotation, and then figuring the bench out and not just putting Austin Reeves on the bench per se and figuring that out. Like I feel like you should be more in tune with what you want instead of figuring that out, because like teams like the Nuggets, Celtics, even the Warriors, they already know their five that they're going to be using and like the rotations that they have. And those are more seasoned teams, and that those teams are contending for a championship. Also playing, like I feel like LeBron is doing way too much for the team, and I don't know if Anthony Davis needs to take more of a role or like offensively.
I think the offense is just bad as a whole.
Yeah.
I don't think it's any one player. I think LeBron has to do everything because the offense is so poorly constructed. Like today was a little better, but there were still situations like when Jackson Hayes was in the game earlier, he's cutting from the 3-point line, but it's like the team's not going to guard him at the 3-point line. So his cut means nothing because the big is inside anyway. So there's just some plays that I'm scratching my head. Like, why do we draw that up? If we're cutting on with Austin Reeves or even Cam Reddish, who's a threat to hit a three, it makes sense. But there's a lot of plays I've seen Darvin Ham run with personnel. Like, I don't really know what he's trying to do. And then a lot of times, like I've complained about this before, it's, just stand and watch somebody cook. It's D'Lo's turn. It's like, that's not an offense that you have to run. And then Anthony Davis sometimes just dissing. It's like, and I don't think it's all his fault every time. Like he has to demand the ball at times, but I also think the way our offense is run, we literally don't involve him in certain plays. Like we run pick and roll.
He doesn't look to get involved either. Like,
well, yeah, that's what I just said. I said sometimes he's not aggressive enough, but there's times where also he's just not involved in a play, and that's due to the offensive play or the offense that Darvin Ham's drawn up. So, it's kind of a combination of multiple things. I think if the coaching was better, we'd have a better record, because I feel like some games we have right there and rotations or late game situations have fucked us over. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes it's on the players. Like that Orlando game was strictly on the players. 100% lack of effort, lack of attention to detail, lack of, second chance points has been a big thing this season. Even this game that we won, it was a big issue at halftime. So effort and coaching.
One too, it's effort. Like they got out early, started scoring, and you guys couldn't to beat them.
With that one too, though, no AD. So our defense sucks when he's not on the court. And then on top of that, when the offense is stagnant and your defense isn't stopping anybody, like it's going to lead to what happened in that game. So, yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but right now, I don't think they're a championship contending team. I feel like coaching is probably the biggest reason as to why I don't think he's putting them in the best positions to succeed and utilizing them like he did in the playoffs last year or the second half of the season last year. So,
I think missing some of our players hurts too a little bit, but you still got to work. You know,
Like
that's
it's
not an
bigger than
excuse.
that. I feel like I still think it's kind of bigger than that too. What are you saying, Gabe?
I was gonna say I'm really torn, like really down the middle, because on one hand, I do believe this team, the way it's built, has championship aspirations with the roster construction. If everybody's healthy, all the cylinders are firing. But on the other hand, I get moments where Davis doesn't feel like he wants to like play basketball. Days where Austin Reeves just is like out of the game. He's just inconsistent, and a lot of times where it's still heavily relying on LeBron James to do everything to make the offense move. Because, bro, you guys have seen it, and I'm sure everyone has seen the graphic where LeBron James sits and the Lakers just start like they can't get anything rolling. It's crazy. That graphic is like LeBron plus. It's crazy, dude. LeBron James is still the focal point of this team, and he's like 39 years old. Davis needs to. I'm tired of giving Davis slack for this. He needs to do this. If he doesn't like take the reins forcefully from LeBron, I'm getting tired of saying, "Oh, it's time."
He won't,
it's time
man.
for LeBron. It's time for LeBron to hand him the reins. We've been saying this for a year straight. This motherfucker won't take the reins.
It's been years.
Bro, LeBron gives him the keys. We've said this exact analogy. LeBron gives him the keys. He spins the block and comes back. Like every time this happens. LeBron, we say, "Oh, LeBron's gonna play 28 minutes, 30 minutes a game, averaging 36 minutes a game." Bro,
I think that's on the fans though. Like if you expect that from AD, and there's nothing wrong with him being a number two. Like number twos are needed. We need number twos in the league. Like you need number two, but it's like if you continuously expect that from him, like that's on you. I don't think he is that. He's never been that. Like we've seen in New Orleans. That's why he got traded to a team with a LeBron James, because New Orleans didn't believe he was a number one. I guess the Lakers did, and some people did, and I did it too at first. But I didn't pick him for MVP for these type of reasons, because defensively he is that guy. He is him defensively. He is the system defensively. But offensively, he's the number two guy. We've seen it before, and I'm not expecting him to be the number one guy.
If he's number two, you won't win, because LeBron is so old. I mean, LeBron's LeBron, but he's so old to the point where you can't keep this up for 82 games and the playoffs too. Like it's impossible.
No, I'm not saying
who you are, So if
it doesn't have to be LeBron,
and he's not the best, then there's no chance of you guys winning.
It's not even just AD though. It's not about him. It's not about him taking the reins. He doesn't have to. I mean, he has to step up to something. Like he can't be invisible. I'll say that much. Like he can't have 0 points in a second half, but he doesn't necessarily have to go out and get 30 and 20 every night. Defensively, he has to be there, and he has to be aggressive. That's the number one thing, is aggression from him. I don't care if he scores, because he could pass out. He could, he gets double teamed a lot, which is fine. He doesn't have to shoot every shot. The thing is, other guys have to make shots, and LeBron can't be the person that's initiating the offense, driving to the rim, getting everybody involved. Like AD has to take initiative to, again, he doesn't have to score every time, but he has to get the ball every time. It's really the thing. And so I think that's what'll help us. He doesn't have to be the number one option, but he has to be like he has to take initiative. That's the main thing. So,
which you've been saying for years, though.
I'm fine if they're. I'll say this. I'm fine if they're gonna do this like a. I don't know if this term has been said before, like a co-star situation where they're on equal, and it doesn't matter who's first. It doesn't matter. They both will help the team win in any way. But I don't get that every night. Sometimes I get the quiet AD. Sometimes I get the AD that doesn't grab boards. Like he has like eight boards, and I expect him to have like 12. And it's not just the stat in the game. It's like what happens in the game where he's getting out rebounded by the opposing team. And I'm like, dude, like Anthony, like come on, like. I don't want to say like do it, but like do it. You know what I mean? Like even defensively get in there. I know he's averaging 3 blocks, 12 rebounds. That's fine. But I just need him to like be like
he doesn't show up in certain moments that you need him to.
You said this earlier, Hassan. You said this word for word. You said sometimes he's just disengaged. And like, yes, I see that too fully. And I don't know if it's a people thing. I don't know if it's coaching where like, let's say they don't want to get him involved, but I think AD and like Braun, how do I say this? Even when it's not just Braun, either when it's Reeves, D'Lo, someone else facilitating, they need to look for Anthony Davis consistently.
He needs to demand the ball. They look for him. He needs to demand the ball. It's his like want to get the ball. And again, he doesn't have to shoot. I don't like people are saying he has to like score more. It's not even about that. But it's like when you see him like on the perimeter just standing there, like he's not even setting a screen. He's not trying to get a rebound. That's when it pisses me off. Because I think we have capable scorers on our team. We have enough role players, enough depth that he doesn't have to score, like carry us in scoring. But it's when he's a 0 on offense, off the ball too, is when it's bad. Because he's as the big, you're supposed to roll, set screens, get like that's your whole value for us. Like I mean, not the whole value, but that's a big part of it. So yeah, that's what pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah, that makes me upset too. But like LeBron doing so much at his age too, so early into the season, like what do you expect him? Playoffs come, like this is when Anthony supposed to
go
be
harder.
yeah, aggressive and let LeBron like him dropping 32 points, bro. Like he don't need to do that, man. Like I like
Unfortunately,
the minute restriction
yeah.
idea going into the season because that's what you're supposed to do for a guy that is his age and you guys want to contend for a championship. But since the team's not like letting him do that and he has to take over and be like the alpha
competency.
team,
They're not competent enough.
they just don't
They're
want to
just
take
not.
over. Like, yeah, they're not confident enough to take over. And LeBron's
Yeah, I
like,
mean-
okay, let me be LeBron James and take over. And he
It's
shouldn't
crazy
be able
how
to,
it's
Yeah,
crazy
because
how
the
he has to
offense
do that.
doesn't put when LeBron's off the court, Darvin Ham has not implemented an offense that can do well without LeBron. Like the offense still relies too much on LeBron, and I don't think that's a roster problem. Well, it is partially a roster problem, but a big part of it is coaching problem because I've seen coaches do more with less. Dude in OKC, Mark D, he's been doing more with less for years. So, like, I know that it's possible. I know Will Hardy with the Jazz last year was in the playoff contention damn near until the last game of the season. So, I've seen coaches with less talent put players in a position to succeed. And this year, we're as talented as ever. So, we have depth. And I know guys are injured, whatever. But, again, it's not an excuse because we still have players that could play. And, again, they're not playing that well. But when LeBron's off the court, it can't be that bad. Like, I get it. He's our best player. So when he comes off, it should be worse, but not that much worse where it's literally, I think it was, they showed today, it was like minus 91 or something in the first quarter alone or something. Like, it's bad. It's bad.
You won't win like a championship at all, like, or even contend if LeBron has to do this night in and night out, like, because it won't last forever. Just due to his age.
The closest we got, like, to them being 1A, 1B was 2020. Like,
yeah, and you won a championship, a bubble
it's
one.
Like the thing about what I was thinking about when Bez was talking about how he is out on the perimeter. Like, it's frustrating that we haven't ever gone back to that type of formula. Like showing that the system that at least Vogel had in place during the 2020 run, they showed they were a dominant team through the whole year. Granted they had Rondo, granted they had like, some pieces that made the offenses run better. But right now you got your wings, you got shooters, you have D'Lo, like I feel like in this instance, the best thing that would be for them is to go back to, the LeBron 25 and 10 type of thing. And AD was averaging like 27, but he has to be that aggressive. And then in that championship run, LeBron averaged like 30 in the playoffs because he was able to, be more of a facilitator throughout the year than let me go get 30 every night.
Do you think maybe it's their defense? You think AD's motivated by defense turning into offense and them being that down? Because in 2020 they were the best defense in the league, and they're able to like have more offense because of their defense. And I remember they didn't lose a game if they're up in the third quarter, and they're like 52-0 or something like that going into it. I feel like I feel like the defense this year is definitely like lackluster, and maybe that's why AD is not as aggressive. I think he's been doing his part as defensively, but if the whole team comes together and is a top 5 defense, then I think that's when AD becomes aggressive and he becomes the one, and LeBron doesn't have to do as much because LeBron he'll take breaks defensively because he knows he can rely on others to do so, and then offensively he'll show up, and that way he can like.
Sometimes it's bad though. He's literally leaving guys wide the fuck open. Like
he's
I
old,
get it,
bro. Like
I get it, bro. I get it. You're old and shit, but dude, you got to put a hand up. At least pretend like you're trying to close out. You can't just like he looks at dudes wide open. He's a shooter too. Like he identifies, oh yeah, that's Grayson Allen wide the fuck open. Just doesn't even try. Like that's when it kills me. At least it look like you're like jogging out there or something. Come on.
You know what I think? I think is a factor to that, Hassan. Once I think we haven't said a big, and this is actually for the Lakers a big defensive piece. Vanderbilt, like no matter what you want to say about him, his presence is very, very, very how do I say this? Not
good defensive,
very
scrappy guy.
Very well. His presence is fuck. You know what I'm trying to say. His presence is needed pretty much because he feels that
got the aura
where he takes all the time. Huh?
So you got that aura.
Yeah, he got that aura. He got that D.
He got that
but he fills that role that would pretty much help in the defensive aspect. And I think what we're seeing from the 2020, what we're not seeing from the 2020 days is a primary backup facilitator like Rondo, and also that team for some reason played like their asses off, dude. Like all those guys back in that day, like during the season, they were playing like their asses off, like Rondo, Dwight Howard, all these guys we had on the team. They were playing. Yeah, Kuz too was oh my God, Hustle Kuz, bro. They were all playing their asses off. But nowadays, yeah, some people show effort, but some people don't. I hope that changes when Vandal comes back, though, as far as the defensive end.
You change that with coaching, like.
Nah,
Honestly,
it's a personnel thing. I think the D'Lo and Austin Reeves minutes got to go. Like today, it looked better, which, whatever. If Austin Reeves come off the bench but closes games, that's fine. But him and D'Lo on court at the same time is one of the worst defensive backcourts in the league, straight up. And we're not good defensively without Vanderbilt helping us on the perimeter to lead with that lineup. So definitely, I like Reddish out there. Less shooting, but I think he's fine. Like whatever, he can get a corner three every now and then.
This game, he was heating up. I think that obviously this could just be a heater game. He could
for sure heater game. He's not doing that.
He started, but I do like to try not to count out people's progression. I don't want to say this is going to continue, like for sure. But
it's me counting Cam Reddish out.
I think that since they started him and they had a positive impact on the game, and we've seen in these past few games, it wasn't just like they started him randomly. They've been giving him heavy minutes, and while he hasn't been that good offensively, he's been pretty good defensively. So I think that if starting him gives him the confidence to do well on both sides of the ball instead of just playing well defensively. And then they ran that he got 3 corner threes. They're running plays for him on purpose to try to like get him open. Mm-hmm. And so, he ended up, they ran plays for him and he ended up hitting his shots like he's supposed to. So I feel like,
that's a problem.
If I'm not going to say he's going to hit 3 threes in the fourth every night, but if he can hit 2 of those a game and still be a positive defensively, and not, make dumb decisions and turn the ball over and stuff, then I think that'll be a good addition to the starting lineup to have him.
You never said if you're in or out, Omari.
Oh, on the Lakers?
Being a championship contending team.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say I'm out simply because I think it is an early season. We did, last season, we didn't start off the greatest. We are missing.
You know why, though? This time we don't know why as much, we have an understanding, but
I do think that it is a major coaching problem when it comes to rotations and it comes to like and having an actual system in place. I do, LeBron's LeBron, and when it comes to capability, he's capable of doing this every night. But it's just if his body holds up.
You act like he's a god or something, bro. He's a human, man.
Nah, he's capable. I mean, he's capable of doing it, but it's like at what cost? Like he will be tired by the end of the year.
He doesn't have to do this every night. That's the problem, bro. Like the coach is not putting the rest of the players in a position to succeed. And I'm not saying it's all him again, but like, bro, it's just a lot of things I see on the court that it's like we have enough of a sample size with a lot of these guys to know who's good at what and like what players excel at, what their strengths and weaknesses are. And yeah, I feel like Darvin Ham sometimes thinks like, oh, I can change him. I can make Christian Wood into a good defender. Like, dude, I mean, that's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
I understand.
Like, Austin Reeves, like go guard KD. Like, dude, like he's not that. He's just not going to be that. It's not even, I get you want to try and like develop him, but you already know what these players are. Like, we're a contending team. This is not a situation where you try dudes out. Like, again, you don't want to shatter their confidence, which is good. I want to keep Cam Reddish like in the game. I don't want to yank him and stuff, but drawing a place for him is where that's where it's too far. You still want him to shoot those shots and be confident. And if he's open, take them. But, making a concerted effort to give him a ton of open looks is where it's like a little too much for me. But
dude, 1 foot out the league. Now you're drawing them plays. Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
man, he hit 30 them holes. So
yeah, what happened?
I need him to hit 4.
Literally drew up
I need him to hit 4 a game.
Cam Reddish, bro. Like that's insane to me.
He needs to hit 4 threes a game. I don't care.
So they drew a game winner for Cam Reddish. Darvin Ham, like the pass to the corner.
Well, Darvin Ham's a retarded ass human being. Hassan,
all right, man, relax, bro, relax. Developmentally disabled. What's your next
the game? Insane.
I wish we kept Schroeder.